I have written an open letter to His Majesty the King, and Lauren, she must love me, because she's very politely asked me, Bish, would you read the full text of the letter that I wrote? So here it is. Stick with me. It is a lengthy letter, but it's very important, especially as we see the repeated attacks on Christianity in the United Kingdom. I felt I got to a point where I had no choice but to write this letter. So I hope you're sitting comfortably, because this is how it begins. As a bishop, I cannot stay silent. I have today drafted and sent an open letter to His Majesty King Charles III, the text of which reads as follows. To His Majesty Charles III, King of the United Kingdom and the Realms, Supreme Governor of the Church of England, bearer of the ancient title, Defender of the Faith. Your Majesty, I write to you neither as a politician nor as a commentator, but as one of your loyal subjects who, as a bishop of Christ's Church, cannot remain silent while the Christian foundations of this kingdom are steadily dismantled. Sir, there are moments in the life of a nation when silence becomes a form of betrayal. If I refuse to speak to your Majesty now, this would be such a moment. For more than 1,000 years, the crown of this realm has stood in solemn covenant with the Christian faith. The laws of this land were shaped by it. The liberties of our people were nurtured by it. The conscience of our civilization was formed by it. From the abbeys of medieval England to the parish churches of our villages, from the preaching of the reformers to the missionary zeal that carried the gospel to the ends of the earth, the Christian faith has not merely influenced Britain, it has defined her. Yet today, that inheritance is being quietly but deliberately eroded. Across the institutions of this nation, there is a growing hostility toward the faith that built them. Christian belief is mocked in the public square. Christian morality is dismissed as intolerance. Christian institutions are pressured to surrender doctrine in order to conform to the ideology of the age. Within the very church that bears the name of England, voices have arisen that appear more eager to mirror the spirit of the age than to proclaim the eternal truth of the gospel. Meanwhile, beyond the walls of our churches, powerful political movements openly speak of removing Christianity from its historic place within the life of this nation. What would once have been whispered is now proclaimed openly, that Britain must become a post-Christian state. It is in this context that I write to you, Your Majesty, for the British Crown does not stand apart from this crisis. The sovereign of this realm bears a title that is not merely historic, but sacred in its origin and meaning, Defender of the Faith. Those words are not decorative, they are a charge. They speak of a monarch whose duty is not merely to preside over the ceremonies of the church, but to stand as a guardian of the Christian inheritance of the nation. Yet many among your subjects now ask with increasing anxiety, who will defend that inheritance today? They see a nation drifting from its foundations, and they ask whether the crown will remain silent while that inheritance is dismantled. Your Majesty, may I be so bold as to observe that your coronation oath was not a poetic formality. It was a solemn vow made before Almighty God to maintain and preserve the Protestant Reformed religion established by law. Those words bind the conscience of the sovereign. They remind the crown that its authority is not merely constitutional but moral. The monarch is not merely a symbol of national continuity, but a custodian of the spiritual inheritance that shaped this realm. History records moments when kings and emperors were confronted by the church and reminded that their authority was accountable before God. In the 4th century, Ambrose of Milan stood before the Emperor Theodosius I and reminded him that even the ruler of an empire must bow before the moral law of Christ. That tradition of prophetic witness has never disappeared, nor should it. For when rulers forget the foundations upon which their authority rests, the church must speak, not with hostility, but with holy clarity. And so I write to say this, Your Majesty. The Christian character of this nation is under profound and accelerating assault. If the crown does not stand visibly and courageously in defense of that inheritance, history will record that the guardians of Britain's institutions watched in silence as the foundations were removed. The issue before us is not nostalgia. It is civilization. Remove Christianity from the story of Britain, and you do not create a neutral society. You create a moral vacuum. And history teaches that moral vacuums are never left empty for long. Your Majesty now stands at a crossroads that few monarchs in modern history have faced. For the erosion of Britain's Christian inheritance will not ultimately be judged by speeches made in Parliament or debates in the press. It will be judged by whether those entrusted with the guardianship of our ancient institutions chose to defend them, or merely preside over their quiet surrender. You may preside over the quiet dissolution of Britain's Christian identity, or you may rise to the ancient responsibility entrusted to the crown and speak with clarity about the faith that built this kingdom. The first path requires little courage. The second will require a great deal. But it is the path that history honors. Your Majesty's subjects are not asking for religious coercion. They are asking for leadership. They are asking that the sovereign who bears the title Defender of the Faith remember what that title means. They are asking that the crown hear the growing cry of anguish from Christians across this land who feel that the spiritual inheritance of their nation is being surrendered without resistance, and they are asking whether the crown will stand with them. For the faith that shaped Britain is not merely a cultural ornament. It is the wellspring from which our laws, our liberties, and our moral imagination have flowed. If it is cast aside, the nation will discover, too late, that it has severed itself from the very roots that sustained it. Your Majesty, to many the crown is a symbol of authority, but before God, it is also a symbol of stewardship, and stewardship carries with it the duty to defend what has been entrusted. May Almighty God grant your Majesty the wisdom to discern this hour, and the courage to fulfill the sacred duty entrusted to the crown. Yours faithfully, Bishop Kyrene H. Dewar, Missionary Bishop, Diocese of Providence, Confessing Anglican Church. My brothers, my sisters, that is it.